The Betrayal Chapter 1. It's been about half a month since the school found out about my demon form. I can't say it's been going well. There have been a few classmates on Clinton's side, or what used to be Clinton's side, happy that he was protecting the school. Hell, some people claim he has saved the city. Although Clinton and Carl have been making an effort to prove them wrong. It hasn't swayed some, but it's nice to see them acting so nice. Ignoring that, the only thing keeping me on my toes is the nightmares almost every night. To distract myself from an oddly terrible morning, Start asked if I wanted to unpack the last of our boxes. I had made an effort to ignore the boxes in the corner of our room. They just served as bad memories for me. "Come on, it might be fun. We might find some cool things," Star said, moving a box out of the corner, and then a few more, kind of scooting across the floor as she pushed 2 boxes. "Fine," I groaned, sitting on the floor in front of a box she had moved over towards me. I opened the first box. It was just a bunch of clothes, torn jeans, ripped t-shirts. I flinch as my hand runs over the fabric of the t-shirt I wore that day, the back torn completely by the fight between Jason and Devin. I didn't realize my eyes had gone dark until Star pushed another box over to me. I saw her overly optimistic smile plastered on her face, and it grounded me. I sighed as I pushed the old box away from me and looked down at the next. It was already opened a bit, and Star was hiding a smile on her face as she grabbed another one. I opened it up to see some laminated pictures. 3 of them to be exact, along with some old ripped gift wrap that Star got sentimental about, and the other gifts our friends got us. I couldn't help but tear up slightly looking at all of us smiling, happy and relaxed. It's nice to remember the friends who aren't scared of me, who accepted me for who I was. "I wish we could go visit them," Star said, smiling, leaning over so she could see the pictures again. "Why don't we?" I say before thinking. I knew what every part of my body wanted with that sentence, but not my head. My magic flared up, ready to form my wings to pursue my unwanted thoughts. I internalize a glare towards myself, annoyed at my magic. "What do you mean? Mom won't let us go. We made a deal with her that we wouldn't go back. For her sake." I nod softly at her words before looking out the window. "Who says we can't go without her?" I mumble. "What? Who do you think would go out of their way to drive that far?" I roll my eyes and smile at her, letting my magic freely flow. My wings form and stretch out. She takes a moment, the wheels in her head turning before her jaw drops. She stared at me with her eyes wide before leaping towards me and grabbing me by my shoulders. "You can't be serious!" "Keep your voice down," I yell softly. "Mom might hear you, and if she does, that ruins our plan." I glare at her playfully. "You can't be serious, Emma! It's a 4-hour drive. I know you like flying, but if we're lucky, we'd get there in 8. "And?" I smile. She sits there, dumbfounded, as I stand up and dust myself off. "Go pack up your backpack, and don't make it too heavy." "Emma, you aren't thinking this through," Star said, standing up stubbornly. "What's Mom gonna think when we disappear for a day or 2? What happens if we get lost?" I roll my eyes and put my hands on her shoulders, staring at her eyes. "Listen, I know you're a big worry wuss, but I have a map from our old road trip. Ira can cover for us. You're such a goody two-shoes some days, but come on, this might be the only way of visiting them," I say, stretching my arms out and smiling wide. She sighs, smiling and glaring back at me. "I don't appreciate the peer pressure, but fine, I'll pack us both a bag. We can leave next weekend so we have time and won't miss school. I still have Maddie's number, too. I can ask if she wants to set up a sleepover, so we don't have to worry about that either." I jump around, forgetting about my wings for a minute and making Star stumble back, dodging one of them. I spin around worriedly before helping her regain her balance. Both of us laugh softly. The week went by surprisingly fast, and we took our time to plan, explaining things to Ira and letting her convince her mom, even while we took time to hang out with everyone. Playing at the park after school disguised us planning more without any teachers finding out and tattling on us, and before we knew it, it was the end of school on Friday. We had told Mom we were staying at Ira's for a weekend sleepover, so we ran home, grabbed our backpacks, and ran over to Ira's house, smiling and jumping around. Ira's mom agreed to drive us to the outskirts of the city just for a little bit of help, catching a bus as we disguised it. We hop in her car as Ira bounces around just as excited as we were. We closed the doors, waiting for her mom to come out of the house. "Are you guys sure you're going to be able to get there all right?" Ira asked, smiling wide. Star smiled at me worriedly, the same question running through her head. I took a deep breath, hiding my excited worry. "Yeah, I've got this." My magic flowed quickly, just as pumped as I was. Just then, her mom comes over and gets in the car as well. The silent car ride was almost welcoming as we drove, listening to the quiet tunes of the radio on a low volume. "So, how long has it been since you guys saw your old friends? And why move from such a nice town to here?" The magic already at the surface spiked a pain through my back as the questions caught me off guard. I forced it down and fidgeted with my pants, not knowing what to say. "It's been about a month and a half," Star says, smiling, putting her hand on my back softly. "And our mom had a hard time living there since the accident where we—" I heard her choke on her words. I looked up just to see her shake her head. Her fist clenched beside her before she continued, her voice just as strong as ever. "Where we lost our dad. Sorry." "Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I hope you guys have a great visit with your friends. I bet they miss you too. I think you guys are pretty cool, especially for taking Ira in so quickly." "Mom," Ira says, groaning, "they didn't take me in. I'm very cool and they are too, so it's natural that they would want to hang out with someone as cool as me." She laughs, barely able to keep the joke going. Star giggles. Her forming tears quickly faded. A good few more minutes pass, and we get to a quiet area outside the city. "All right, girls, please be safe," Ira's mom said as we got out of the car. "Bye!" Ira yells, sticking her head out of the window as they start driving away. I sigh and look towards the tree line before waving to Ira as they fade into the distance. I start walking with Star at my side, holding the backpacks for now. "How long do you think it'll take for us to get there, math genius?" I nudge her shoulder, laughing at her glare. I get it. You keep jabbing me with this, and I'll stop helping you with your homework." I pout, a snicker escaping her as she shakes her head. "Well, about 4 hours, driving at 100 kilometers an hour, and you can fly at—" She looked at me confused, waiting for an answer. I've never even thought about it before. I take a moment to think. At night, I fly almost as fast as the cars on the highway do, but much faster than the cars on the city streets do. I think somewhere between 60 and 80. Alright, we'll go with 70 for simplicity. I tune her out as she explains her maths, something about fractions to get the same answer. I take the time to look out for an almost open area in the tree line. So, including breaks, probably around 30 minutes each. Is that good enough for you to recover? I nod, not even realizing what she's saying. My brain is on autopilot. She continues to do math out loud. Then 7? Yeah, around 7 hours if we take breaks when we do. I form my wings as we get to an opening. All right. She hands the bags to me, and the map tight in her hands as she jumps on my back. Oh, and Star? She tilts her head at me as I look over my shoulder at her. You'll have to tell me when to take breaks, because I wasn't listening at all. I laugh as I take off, a quiet scream escaping her lungs as she holds on tight. Emma! She yells, an angry tone in her voice as the wind carries it away from us. After about 4 hours of flying and 2 breaks, we got to the last small town before our old one. Are we on time? I say, diving into the trees just outside of a gas station. Star hops off my back and smiles. I think so. She smiles, pulling me out of the trees, forcing me to turn back faster than I would have liked. I groan as I run alongside her. I'm going first this time, she yells, running inside. I groan and trail behind, taking some time just to wander the aisles of the gas station. I settled for just chilling near the doors, keeping my eye on how high the sun was in the sky. Glancing at a clock on the wall, I notice it's just about 9:30. If I don't start flying a bit faster, we're not going to make it while there's still day. I groan and run my fingers through my hair, looking back out the window just to see a van pull up to the tanks. It wouldn't have caught my eye if it weren't for the fact this van seems so familiar. I notice Ava in the back passenger seat, but before I can run out to her, Star comes out of the back. Okay, your turn. Make it quick, though. Yeah, I know we don't have much time till sundown, but look, it's Ava. They were using the self-serve pumps, so they probably wouldn't come inside. Oh, neat. I wonder what they're doing out of town, Star mumbled, tilting her head. Ava turned around and put the pump away after filling the van with gas. Her parents are talking in the front seats, and she caught our gaze and seemed to freeze. Star and I waved, smiling wide before she quickly jumped in the van and yelled something to her parents. They looked around before Ava yelled again, and they sped off. Star and I stood there in utter shock and confusion as we saw their van drive into the main street and speed off. Star glared at the ground, almost angry, as I stood there just confused. "Well, hurry up. We have to go," Star said solemnly. We got to town just a little before midnight. Everything was closed and quiet, just as how I remembered. It was almost peaceful if I wasn't dead exhausted. "Hey, we can always find the others in the morning. I packed a blanket if you want to find somewhere to sleep." The thought of flying around to find somewhere made my back ache. We landed in the field of our old school where we used to play. I groan as my wings droop, falling to my sides as I sit down. "Or here works," Star said, smiling and grabbing out the blanket. Some part of me tried to convince the rest that this was a terrible idea, and flying home would only be so much worse. "Emma?" I flinch, Star's voice bringing me out of my thoughts as she lays down the blanket on the grass. "You need rest too, you know." I smile at her as she lays back down. I make my wings disappear and look up at the stars, almost laughing at myself as I lay back beside her.